Hello, and welcome to the Bel-E and Scratch podcast. I'm your host, Bel-E.
And I am your co-host, Scratch.
And today... Woo! Oh! Ho!
Hey.
Oh! Ho, ho. No! I will not calm down about this. Oh! Holy crap! Oh! Oh! Oof. Everybody in the world is talking about it.
I hope the neighbors didn't hear that.
Oh, they don't care. You know that.
Oh.
It's WallStreetBets versus Wall Street.
Dun, dun, dun.
It is the classic story of David versus Goliath.
It's definitely a Goliath, I'll tell you that.
And it's happening in real life.
Right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, and I'm on the bandwagon. Woo! I'm right there with you guys.
Don't hurt me.
I ain't gonna hurt you. You're a bystander in all this. Now, I didn't get on it when the price was super duper low, but I still jumped on it because I had money in the bank.
A little bit.
I wasn't gonna miss this. I wasn't gonna miss that boat ride to the other side. Okay.
Just hang in there now.
Oh, hold the line!
Hold the line.
Diamond hands! None of these paper hand bitches in this chat. Don't sell. No. Alright, some backstory.
I'm gonna hose you down.
Hey, I don't get sideways when you get excited about something. Don't be harshing my vibe, bro.
Don't tase me, bro.
Oh, I'm gonna need that taser. Fire up your taser.
Fire up your taser.
Alright, some backstory on what the actual hell is going on. Alright, now, I'm gonna have to use the example that was given to me, because that's the most simple thing I can use. Alright, what happened with GameStop is this. The hedge fund people were shorting the stock. And what shorting a stock means is this. In a very simplified way, say the Krusty Krab has public stock at $100 per share, okay?
Yep.
Of course, you will know all this because you know way more than me. This is just for the listeners.
Absolutely.
So $100 a share.
I can learn too.
Yeah. Plankton, being Plankton, wants to short the stock and drive down the Krusty Krab and make some money while he's doing it.
Is that the example they use, Plankton?
Yes,
Oh, that's
Plankton.
That's awesome.
Because he hates Mr. Krabs. So Plankton calls his broker, Shell Stocks, apparently, or something. I don't fucking know. Anyway. So Plankton calls his broker and he says, hey, I would like to borrow, not buy, borrow 10 shares of the Krusty Krab.
Krusty Krab.
Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me. So the broker goes, okay, I'll let you borrow it, but you gotta pay back with interest. And Plankton says, cool. So now Plankton has 10 borrowed Krusty Krab stocks at $100. So he's sitting on $1,000 and he sells it for $1,000.
Right.
So he sells these things, therefore increasing the supply, and it outgrows demand, and it sinks the price. So it goes from $100 to $20 because Plankton shared those stocks.
Right.
So Plankton buys 10 more, actually buys this time 10 more shares at a fraction of what he did initially.
Right.
He gives those shares back to his broker, pays the interest, and Plankton walks away with $800 minus $200 for the interest. That is shorting a stock.
Yep.
It is a fundamental way of crippling a company while somebody else walks away with the cash.
Yes.
You are way more experienced in that type of thing. That's the example that someone gave to me
it
to
works for
explain,
me.
explain shorting in a very basic understanding. Well,
it's kind of like when you buy it's more cash focused.
Yes.
But when you short, it's more share focused.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Not only that, but it's a huge gamble because, unless you know specifically what you're doing, it could go the opposite way, which is what happened. These hedge funds were shorting GameStop. They did the exact same thing to GameStop, except Reddit caught on to them and went, "No! Fuck you!" And they started pouring their money into GameStop, jacking the price up.
These kids today.
Oh, that's exactly what's happening. That is what's happening. That's why Reddit just bankrupted so many of these hedge funds in days, is because they were shorting this stock of GameStop, and then they jacked the price up beyond what they could feasibly recover.
Right.
So if they have to give back those shares and then buy, it's at a complete loss.
Yeah,
this is a war.
The number that I saw was 20 billion in 3 days.
20 billion in 3 days.
20 billion in 3 days in losses.
A bunch of
that's with all these questionable stop guards in place.
Exactly. I was there.
It caused trading to halt.
I was there Thursday. I got into it early Wednesday when the price dropped around 200-ish. I got in there.
Yeah.
And I bought some more the following day. That Thursday when the price sunk to like 129 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was looking at Yahoo Finance on my phone and on the computer. And there are other stocks that this subreddit is targeting. They were targeting AMC, BlackBerry, Nokia, and a couple of others, but mostly GameStop.
It's going to become its own. It's going to become like its own fund or its own.
WallStreetBets is basically a public dark pool, or is it black pool?
Dark pool.
Dark pool. It's a public dark pool.
Yes.
So basically, I would see the numbers tick on like all these other stocks that WallStreetBets is targeting, but the GameStop one would stop dead in its tracks. Yeah. No ticking for 15 minutes at a time. And I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it on my phone, and I look at the computer, and then I look on a separate computer.
Right.
It stopped dead for 15 minutes, and then it drops. And then it does it again, like repeatedly, and I'm like, "What the fuck is
which app was this? Which app was this?
The Yahoo.
The Yahoo.
The Yahoo.
Basically, this is what was happening. Whoever one of the big powers that be that transfer.
Yeah, go ahead.
That transfer money into whatever this group was involved in. They have to have a certain amount of cash on hand to handle. You have to have a certain percentage of your position has to be cash.
Yes.
And not credit. Okay, so when
otherwise
these heavy trading levels were slamming into this organization, this brokerage firm, they needed to adjust their cash position or their liquidity, which means anytime you hear the word liquid, it's liquidity, cash. Okay, so they had to stop. They literally, what they did was they went and borrowed money.
Yep.
To bring their own cash position higher to deal with the possible ramifications of what this move meant or could mean as far as cash payout.
Meaning they had to get somebody else to loan them some money because they were being slaughtered.
Money.
Yeah, they borrowed money because they were being slaughtered.
Yeah.
How's it feel to be on the other end of the stick?
A good name for it would be guerrilla economics.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what happened.
What, is that like stock trading by the sword? Because that's basically what's happening.
Well,
yeah, this whole Reddit versus Wall Street is stock trading by combat. If you go to r/WallStreetBets, it is a war zone. It is straight up Braveheart. You know that speech? They can take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom! That is the entire subreddit. Oh, you see so many people.
All right.
Oh.
This could be a example of a dynamic that might be taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 1970s, music became so professional, and it was very good music. There was tons of it because that was the time of the radio station that grew and grew and grew. But
radio. Everything became homogenized and the same.
Well, it was right before that when everything was really good.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But then everything became overproduced. Think hair metal.
Ugh.
Overproduced. And out of this...
Nitro sucks.
And out of what was happening... and what was happening musically, that's what bore the punk movement.
Mm-hmm. Because they were anti-overproduction.
They were anti-overproduction. They went from millions of dollars being spent to produce an album in the studio with the best of equipment and the best of this and the best of that.
And the punk movement is basically they got like 3 to 4 guys in someone's basement.
Somebody's basement.
And everyone's paid. Yeah, they have only $3 and a stick of gum, and that's how they made the album.
None of them have had a single music lesson in their life.
They just did it.
They just said, "Oh, you think it'd be cool to be a bass player?" That's what they did.
Yeah, and then they just plucked like one
Sex
note.
Pistols with Sid Vicious. Mm-hmm. They just plucked him out of the crowd because of his look. He didn't have the slightest idea how to play a musical instrument, much less a bass guitar, much less a bass guitar in a semi-established band.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't a huge loss when him and his girlfriend died. I suppose.
No,
not to make light of it. It wasn't a huge loss like Randy Rhoads.
Musically, no.
Yeah, musically it wasn't a huge loss. It's not like Randy Rhoads and his gal crashing in the plane. But we're not gonna get into that today.
Can't get into that.
No, that's a little too rough.
It's
yeah, what's happening? It's
What's happening is a breakout. In trading terms.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I'm extremely curious.
Oh, I keep you updated
because I'm like a novice, intermediate kind of understanding these things.
Yeah, you know enough to get by. Just for the longest time, you didn't have the capital.
Yeah. Well, what happened to me was after the market popped in 2008. I spent the next year listening to everybody who was paid to know what was going on say, we didn't see it coming.
That is a lie.
That's a lie. Okay, at first I'm like, okay, I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt, but I want to know. So I went and read, I don't know, somewhere between 30 and 50 stock trading related books.
And they all said...
And after I got done with that, I realized you guys are a bunch of liars. You knew this was coming.
These stock experts said that, they kept saying, how did that happen? Either you don't know what you're talking about, or you're lying.
Or you're in on it.
Or you're in on it. Either way, you are not fit for that position.
That's exactly what these people were doing when the market was crashing. They were saving their own ass.
And that's basically
by stalling and telling you, because see, they have a position and they want to sell out of it. Well, you can't sell out of it unless there are other people that are buying.
Yeah.
So this is basically what they did. They went on the national news, these national programs.
Yeah.
And they told everybody to buy. You need to buy. Everything's great. Buy, buy, buy. Why? Because they were the ones that were selling.
Yeah. So basically, they got away. They saved their own ass
They saved their
everybody
own
else
ass.
was holding the bag.
Why, and had somebody else pay for it.
And then they got that bailout.
And then they got the bailout.
That is exactly what's happening.
That's exactly
what this Wall Street versus Reddit is for. Some of these people, they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they grew up during that big recession when they lost their houses, their parents lost their jobs, they lost their jobs, they lost their livelihoods. Some of these people are not doing it for the money. They're doing it because it's revenge.
Oh.
They're bankrupting them. There are people who are like 50, 100 grand in the hole. Yeah, that's the motive.
Oh my
God. This is not purely...
Dude, that completely changes everything.
Yes. It's not about the money.
Oh my God.
This is not about...
This is big.
For some people, this is not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Sending a message by people who are so so engaged and aware of the current infrastructure that is the computer.
These people
versus these older institutions that have still. I mean, they hire people.
Yeah,
you're gonna need Hey, Samuel, you're gonna need a social media.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word, Jeb? Social media manager. That's right. You're going to have to hire. Okay, that's the old institutions.
Versus the new
versus
upcomers.
The people who grew up.
Yes.
This is the language.
This is the new language,
and
they speak it.
The old system is trying to find someone to translate.
And they can't do it.
But the new generation understands the language, the tech.
Yes.
Oh, man.
There is growing...
This is interesting.
This movement just suddenly woke up one day and realized that all of these older generations, the hedge funds, the Congress people... They suddenly just realized one day, hey, we could cyberbully these people. And they're doing it. No joke. Like, there is legit...
Wow.
Some crazy person who is like 50 grand in debt over GameStop, and they are still holding their shares because the longer we hold our shares, the more money it's going to cost them.
Yeah. Because
they're going to have to eventually recuperate it because they leveraged all of that to short out GameStop.
Well, I tell you what, based on the loss that they were already going to take, I would have taken a certain percentage of that loss and I would have reinvested
I don't know why they had
those shares at that higher rate.
I think the problem is that they didn't,
because a bubble is a bubble.
And
it would definitely be a long term. I don't know. It would only take some really experienced wave riders. That's slang.
Mm-hmm. 70 billion.
That's ridiculous. Woo!
Yeah,
man,
I think
I'm gonna tell you something.
I think
you have something taking place. Well, I'm gonna tell you something.
It's
from my understanding that countries
mm-hmm.
have been involved in this sort of thing for our
definitely more than your lifetime.
Well, definitely so much so more today.
Yeah.
Because look at what's happening with the beer flu. Okay.
Yes.
This thing is basically crippled somewhere. I'm not gonna say it's done it's here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying that somewhere this thing is an economy killer.
Yeah, they basically it definitely crippled healthcare.
Yeah. I mean, healthcare is going to have everything it needs pumped into it.
Obviously, because you kind of need to do that.
But it's being bought lock, stock, and barrel right now. Okay. And I'm not here to argue it one way or the other. What is happening is happening. And hey, I'm not going to say yay or nay. It is what it is.
But not only that, but these people on Reddit, you basically have an entire Gen Z and a couple of some millennials. You have these people locked inside their house for an entire year. They're jacked up on Adderall and Red Bull, and they decided, you know what? We don't care anymore. And then,
dude, that's funny.
You know, obviously, I would be remiss if I did not mention Mr. This is his actual Reddit name. The guy who kind of kicked this whole thing off. and is kind of the official, unofficial leader of WSB subreddit.
Yeah.
Deep fucking value. That is his actual name. I'm not being profane for the sake of it. That is his actual subreddit name.
Alright.
DFV, he apparently YOLO'd his life savings at about 50 to 70K and would hypothetically walk away with $50 million. He is what kicked this whole thing off. A lot of people on WallStreetBets have decided if he sells, I sell.
Right.
So if DFV pulls out, like sells,
yeah,
GameStop's probably gonna die because it's gonna just tank immediately. That's kind of the downside. Is there's really no way to save GameStop really, because
really.
Here's the thing: they've kind of put themselves in the grave just as much as the hedge funds have put them in the grave. No, I've been there, man.
Oh, I know you have.
They did it to themselves. But if hypothetically WallStreetBets finally pulls out, no, wait, GameStop's they're probably gonna go the way of the dinosaur.
Well, I mean, when you see the business model changing, and it's easy for people like maybe whoever is running the place is so removed from.
They ain't gonna be removed. They gonna be permanently removed.
They're about to be permanently removed. They don't see the change of the business model, and then I understand what they're. I mean, and they. I mean, they were going to their stock price was going to increase a little bit anyway.
A little bit, just a tad.
Based on what's going on in the world, and
but not by 500%. Yeah, but not by 500%.
Well,
God.
I mean, obviously, somebody took offense to how much of GameStop was being shorted.
Oh yeah, no, because here's the thing: the reason why the hedge funds they couldn't double back and say like, okay, we're gonna like switch it up and do what they're doing and then beat them at their own game is. The part of this that is, like, really illegal from what I read is they didn't just short it, like, 100%. They apparently shorted it by 140%.
Oh, they made that's called basically what they did was the 100% was their money.
That was their money.
And the other 40% was what you and I spoke about, a margin account.
Yes.
Like whatever you deposit, your broker, like you deposit
the broker's money.
The broker's money.
That's the margin.
You deposit $10,000 into a broken account, and you're okay. I'm gonna trade with this blank.
Yes.
All right.
You put $10K in a brokerage.
Your broker will match it dollar for dollar. So you have technically you have a $20,000 account. All right, you have to be real careful about your the percentages on your trades, and
I'm listening. I'm just looking up WallStreetBets to see if I can get some updates.
So
go Dogecoin.
The thing about it is, we're going to talk about Dogecoin. That's so crazy.
Anyway, you were saying the margin.
So the 100% is basically they're all in plus 40% of the whoever their broker is. Mm-hmm. So they're automatically in a losing position. You see, they've got to score the 40% minimum. Okay. They might get a little more time on the other 100, but that's a tall order.
Yes,
140%. That's a tall order.
That's exactly why they didn't. It takes
a lot of trades to.
That's exactly why they didn't cut their losses. Well, see,
here's the thing. It isn't just the amount.
Yeah.
It isn't just that these brokers, quote unquote, lost $20 billion, and I'm sure they've lost more since. I don't know what the numbers are.
Probably.
It's just, 1 or 2 days ago I read $20 billion, and it was probably a day actually, but they said 3 days. And that is simply this: it isn't just that the market is set up,
yeah,
because some of the some of the whisperings and the talking coming out of the pundits are that basically there is a dynamic that has been exposed to not allow people that have more to keep getting more, but there's also been a dynamic exposed stating to people that have less, there is a wall put up to stop you from making more.
Yeah, Reddit just broke through that wall.
Yeah, Reddit just broke through that wall and it exposed some players.
And I took a brick as a souvenir. It's on my mantle.
But here's the thing. When you place a trade, there is something called a stop loss. So basically what it is when you place that trade, you should never, under any circumstances, not have a stop loss number put in. But the problem is, and it isn't what happened that shows me that something is rigged. It is the fact that they made these trades with so much impunity that they didn't even engage a stop loss mechanism. In other words, they knew that it was going to win, so why make plans for if it does not?
Yeah. Tell WallStreetBets, we don't believe in stop losses either.
And even when they were faced with the glaring evidence, and this is why the number got so big.
Yes.
Wall Street figured it out, or these hedge fund managers figured it out early. Of course, this is what they do. Even when confronted with the obvious evidence that they were losing big, they
$70 billion.
They hesitated because they were so used to things always going in the direction that they wanted it to.
Not only that, but they also resorted to, instead of cutting their losses because of the exorbitant short, they resorted to cheating. I would be remiss if I didn't speak on Robinhood and a couple of other brokerages just bending over for some hedge funds. Here's the thing. There are two things on this particular Thursday, that stopped it from going to 500. Two things.
Really?
Yes.
What did it hit? 450?
It hit like 450-ish. Yeah, 450-ish. I could be wrong by a couple of dollars, but about 450-ish.
It was heading to 500, but
it was going to 500 because we were pouring money into it. Even if it didn't make sense. The motto of WallStreetBets subreddit is buy high, sell never.
Yeah, I think that's where all the focus was.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Bitcoin stalled.
Ethereum stalled. I watched it happen too.
I was
the NASDAQ went down, SPY went down, S&P went down, but it was all focused around GameStop and these other WallStreetBets targeted stocks. Here's what happened on Thursday, and what kind of continued to happen into Friday. This is being filmed on a Saturday, mind you.
Yeah.
So the market is officially closed at this particular time, this particular date, the 30th of January.
Which was
today. I'm looking at my computer. Yeah.
Oh,
this
yeah.
Is the 30th.
The Forex market, the stock market, and all other markets, they shut down at 4:30.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah, it's the times now are 9:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m.
Right. And they
I don't know if they
start
changed
back up till Sunday.
No, Monday. I think Sunday.
You're thinking of the U.S. market.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the U.S. market because I'm in the U.S.
Right. But I think that no. This is something you're about to learn.
Enlighten me.
No, I'm just saying. I believe the first market that opens up is in Japan.
Yeah, no wonder they call it the land of the rising sun.
Sunday evening.
That I'm not too sure.
Now, the American market, because we live in this North America.
Yes.
Opens at X time Monday morning and closes at X time Friday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but the first market that opens up, I believe, is in Japan.
And we gonna see some stuff.
They're, I don't know, 12 hours ahead of us.
Give or take,
some
yes.
jazz like that, yeah.
But what had happened was this past Thursday, they played dirty. We knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know what was going to happen.
Slap your mama around a tree.
Yeah. So two major things happened. One was Robinhood. A lot of people in WallStreetBets were using Robinhood. I was not using Robinhood. I don't want to say the name because I'm not sponsored.
Correct.
Now, I'm basically using something that's been around for, it's older than you. It's probably at least a century old. And I picked it because it's been around forever. You know?
Yeah, it has.
Probably not going to go away anytime soon.
I don't think so.
So, now here's the thing. This brokerage that I am using, it's slow to put money into it. It took me a month to hook up my bank account to it. I had to physically call these people to do it. And anybody else who's trying to jump on this bandwagon, I've told them the same thing. Like, if they're having issues connecting their bank account, you need to call them directly, probably submit your social security and answer some questions. But after that, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, they're not trying to swindle you. They have a lot of security.
It's been around a long time.
Yeah, and it takes about 1 to 2 to 3 business days to actually transfer money from your primary bank to this brokerage, if you so choose to do that.
Right.
But once you get that money in, there's no stopping this train. Yeah, it's slow to put money in, but once you get the money in, it is on fire. So, basically, I suggested this to my boss to stop using Robinhood because Robinhood limited sale of GameStop, AMC, Nokia, BlackBerry, and a couple of others that WallStreetBets has been targeting.
They lost a huge group.
Oh, here's the thing. Not only is that illegal.
Well, yeah.
Because they basically changed it to where you couldn't buy it, but you could sell it.
Yeah, you can't represent yourself as an outlaw and then not act like
as an outlaw. Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Here's the thing. Around 10:30 to 11 o'clock ish is when the news of Robinhood hiding and restricting trades came in, and about 4 hours later, there's already a class action lawsuit against Robinhood for doing that. That's the power of Reddit, people.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 4 to 5 hours later, there's already a class action lawsuit being filed. And then the next day, Friday, they're like, oh, we're having limited trades. You know, screw you. And the worst part, it wasn't bad enough that they restricted trades, they hid stocks. They sold people's stocks without telling them at a loss.
I heard that.
There were people with screenshots to the subreddit saying, we've sold this stock at like $100 and some dollars. You cannot cancel this order. There were thousands of those photos flooded to the subreddit.
It's called...
That is so illegal!
Well, here's the thing. The term is slippage.
Slippage.
Right. And it basically says that, I can't remember, and this is another thing if you're going to trade, you got to understand, and this is something I'm trying to learn too.
Mm-hmm.
You got to, first and foremost, you got to understand your money.
Yes.
Okay. If you don't focus on anything else, learn about how to manage your money.
Mm-hmm.
Worry about the patterns and all the stuff that's out there, and the opportunity, blah. Manage your money. That is the primary thing. The second thing is, which is related to money, slippage. I can't remember whether it's a limit order, a buy limit order, or a buy limit order, or a limit order, stop, whatever. Basically what you'll do is if you don't put the order in just in a certain way, it means fill it within a certain whatever criteria. So basically what they were doing, in my opinion, is, and that's supposed to be random.
Yeah, supposed to be.
It's supposed to be random. So if it happens, it happens. But then I think there's a high possibility, in my opinion, that they may have been calculating when they did it. to sell people's accounts at a loss.
Exactly.
At the price that they did not. There's a type of order you can put in. I can't remember the exact name of it. That says, I want this amount of share, or I want to buy this amount of share. I want to sell this amount of share for this amount of money and nothing else but this.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an order that it's based on how it's structured. It is so if you don't get that price, it isn't filled. Your order isn't filled.
Mm-hmm.
But there is another type of order that will allow for slippage, and the slippage basically they expanded on their criteria to fill at a different price than you put in to get.
Yeah.
And that's how people ended up getting sold out of their positions at a loss.
Yeah. So basically, that was happening.
Which is dirty pool.
Yes. So Robinhood happened on Thursday, and the other thing that happened is something that the subreddit has described as a short ladder attack.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. Now, I can't remember exactly which Reddit user explained it, but basically what had happened was around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, everything was going great. It was about to hit like 500,
Yeah.
and then the market stalled, and then Robinhood started restricting people.
What time was this?
Around 11 o'clock-ish.
What day?
This past Thursday.
Thursday, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it stalled.
Okay.
And then it went down, like down.
Right.
And then it stalled again. And then Robinhood completely restricted everything. And then it took a nosedive into the 100s before 12 o'clock.
On
Thursday. I was there. I was watching it happen.
How long did it stay at that level?
Oh, most of the day.
What did it do Friday morning?
Friday morning, it jumped right back up. And then it dropped a little.
Oh, okay.
What this subreddit user described as a short ladder attack is apparently a term for when hedge fund managers, what they do is, it is defined as when hedge fund managers sell their shares from hedge fund A to hedge point B and back again to trick the algorithm into thinking that there is a huge sell-off driving the price down, when ultimately the stock isn't going anywhere. It's not moving away from the hedge funds. They're just making it look like
it's still owned by the same entity.
It's still owned by the same entity.
Well, that's the same thing. You and I got to sit down and watch Wall Street. That's the same thing.
Not Wolf of Wall Street, the Michael Douglas movie with Michael Sheen? Martin Sheen? Charlie Sheen.
Charlie.
You keep talking. I hate the delivery guys.
Row. Gil. Anyway. No. Wall Street. Basically what's happened is the same entity dictates and operates more than one fund. And somehow they've skirted around the laws. Maybe the laws allow that sort of thing. I don't know. But for them to trick, quote unquote, trick the algorithm to think there's a big sell-off, I would imagine, and still remain in ownership of those stocks.
Yeah.
To sell from one fund to another, I would assume is controlled by the same entity. In the movie Wall Street, Michael Douglas is literally Gordon Gekko. Purple horse, is it blue horseshoe?
I don't know. I've never seen that movie.
Oh, you're going to enjoy it. It's all stealthy and cool in the 80s. And that's got the talking heads in it. Yay.
I love the talking heads.
Anyway,
this is not my beautiful house. Once in a lifetime.
But yeah, basically what Gordon Gekko, the character that Michael Douglas is playing in Wall Street, is...
He's an evil sumbitch.
But he is, what he's doing is he's making plays on the market through various shell companies and accounts, offshore accounts. So basically what he's doing is illegal.
Uh-huh.
But if these hedge funds are allowed to operate in the same manner,
uh-huh,
which...
Who's to say they aren't already?
I mean, we can sit down and watch Wall Street. You tell me. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Because that's my frame of reference. You don't have one.
Not really.
Not really.
Basically, my whole perspective on this whole thing.
Started reading that Forex book, what, about 2 months ago?
About 2 months ago. It's not that it didn't. It's not that that book didn't make sense. It's just I was looking at it and it just didn't click.
It was just one-dimensional.
It was very one-dimensional.
Now everything's three-dimensional.
But now everything's three-dimensional and it's practical. For some, in the past 72 hours, I have learned more about the stock market, trading. Now granted, high volatility trading.
High volatility, a very dangerous style.
I've learned how to trade on a very volatile, path.
And usually,
but I get it.
But you get it.
But I get it.
Just understand that you're now on the mat with some very, very seasoned professionals.
Oh, I know. Hey, look, like I said earlier, if deep value sells, I sell.
That play dirty.
Uh-huh.
In ways that you can't imagine.
Oh, I've seen it firsthand. Putting this up. I've seen it firsthand. Like, no joke. I was there Thursday, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, it just dropped.
Right.
But here's the thing. I got to thinking about it, and thankfully I didn't panic sell. I ain't got no paper hands. I ain't no bitch. I got some diamond hands. So, what had happened was, I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, there's about 400 people on this Reddit. Let's just say, hypothetically, every single one of these people had a share.
Yeah.
And they sold it all at the same time.
Yeah.
We would not make a dent in that price drop. We wouldn't drop it from almost 500 to 120
I don't imagine.
inside of an hour. You know who could do that? The hedge funds. So I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, no, we didn't lose our position. They did something. And then someone came out and said it's a short ladder attack based on the volume that was moved as well.
Right.
And I went, oh, okay, I'm not sure how legit this term is, but it makes the most amount of sense about what just happened. And, and then Robinhood started rolling out. There's a class action lawsuit and all that. No, the whole thing is I didn't want to get involved. Because I'm thinking, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I barely understand what's happening. And then I just went, boop! Click. Share. That's mine. That's mine now. I ain't got much, but what I got, I'm holding it.
It's very interesting.
Ape strong together.
What's taking place is very... very interesting.
I'm just glad to be a part of history. I didn't think I'd do that at my age.
Well,
young I am.
You were talking about it last night. Oh no, this is
stock trading by combat.
This sort of thing has always taken place.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it reminds me of what happens between countries.
How so?
This is what countries do with their currency.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like, say it's just like the shorting example.
Yeah.
That you use with the Krusty Krab.
Yeah.
When the price was 100.
Mm-hmm.
So you borrowed 10 shares at 100, and then in the course of things, based on your research, you're expected the price of those shares to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So the shares do go down to $20. Then you buy 10 shares at $20 and you pay the broker back the original 10 shares you borrowed at $100
Mm-hmm.
and you profit $800.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Let's see. A particular loan or a particular financial market exchange between Canada and the United States and Canada, America's hat. All right. So based on this example, Canada, for this particular issue, for this particular thing, Canada owes the United States $100 million. Okay. So they owe the United States $100 million. Now, based on economic situations, the dollar begins to devaluate.
Yeah.
And instead of owing the United States, the original loan amount is $100 million, but based on the series of economic events, the U.S. dollar dropped, and then Canada, based in U.S. dollars under the original agreement, is down. It loses half its value. So they technically only pay $50 million of the original $100 million loan because the United States currency devalued.
Excuse me. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's because that's just how Forex do.
That is the type of thing that takes place between countries and their currency. This is the exact same thing. They work. There is a collective, calculated effort taking place that you are personally involved in.
Yeah.
In a group versus another group. Okay, on a global scale, this exact thing takes place between countries, and they use their currencies to do it because whatever the debt is from one country to another changes based on the value of that currency. Like for the United States, to continue to print money based on the economic situation that we are in is going to devalue the dollar.
This is also exactly why I don't suspect that there will be a bailout for Wall Street this time around.
No.
Not like 08. For two reasons. One, the exact same reason you just mentioned in terms of the Forex trading. It would devalue the dollar to bail out Wall Street. And two, if hypothetically they were trying to put a plan together to do it, hypothetically, to bail out Wall Street, Reddit is trying to make it not only bankrupt hedge funds, but also, I think what no one's talking about, this is like a personal theory of mine, what no one is really talking about is the fact that these guys are also making it mathematically impossible to have a bailout. Because here's the thing, back in 08, the bailout was like, what, $13 billion-ish? These guys have lost approximately $70 billion in about a week.
We're talking about in the billions.
Still, yeah, the billions.
Maybe even like 800 billion.
Yeah.
900 billion.
Yeah.
Almost a trillion.
I'm just saying, like mathematically, it feels mathematically impossible.
Right.
To bail out Wall Street at this point.
Oh, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
What's your idea on how it's not going to happen?
Well, what happened in 08?
Yeah.
Well, what happened in 08 is very similar to what's taking place right now with Robinhood. Imagine Wall Street of 2008 and Robinhood 2021.
Yeah.
The exact same thing happened. So much money was moved out.
Yeah.
Okay. So much money moved out that they had to technically halt trading and go find a source of cash because they had to maintain their liquidity position.
Yes.
Okay, that's the exact same thing that Wall Street did in 2008 that Robinhood just did in the last week.
Damn it!
You see.
But yeah.
So for them to be able, and so what moved in 2008, although in my opinion, it's a very similar dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
What moved in 2000, what the amount of cash that moved,
mm-hmm.
it emptied Wall Street's liquidity position. And they had to print more money.
Mm-hmm.
They had to basically give them more because they didn't have money to operate.
Precisely.
So that's what Robinhood did. Robinhood stopped trading and went out and got more money. And each time they had to stop, they were on the phone with somebody to get more cash for their position. It was either that they basically went to their stockholders and said,
mm-hmm.
you got a choice.
Uh-huh.
You can loan us money or you can lose your entire investment.
Exactly.
So what do you think the investors are going to do? They're
mm-hmm.
going to loan them the money.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All I've heard is didn't Robinhood do something stupid like in the last 6 months? It caused a bunch of brouhaha. Their name was in the
much I don't know.
The news for something. I don't know what it was, but I mean, it wasn't just, hey, look at this new service. Hey,
mm-hmm.
look at this great review of this new service. It was something.
I'm not too sure.
Some kind of negativity to it. I don't remember exactly what it was.
I don't know.
Within the last 6 months, with Robinhood, and now, so now they can't really represent themselves as an outlaw to outlaws.
Mm-mm. I think no. I don't want to get into that. That's too political. But no. I get it. I'm just like.
So with that group, they're done.
Yeah. No. No one's gonna use Robinhood after this. Like, I've convinced my boss to just let it all go. To switch to something else, switch to another brokerage. I've told everyone, don't use Robinhood. Don't do it. Everyone's left 1-star reviews, like uninstalled it, transferred assets, everything.
Google went in the algorithm to what? Over 100. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Google went in and algorithmed over 100,000 negative reviews of Robinhood.
Really?
Yeah, like when people go in and
like
search,
they
removed them.
They removed reviews.
Removed them.
That's not going to help.
Well, I'm just telling you.
No. These people are the subreddit. Its tagline is basically the tagline to WallStreetBets is if 4chan found a Bloomberg terminal. You think 4chan gives a damn about Google removing reviews? They'll keep making accounts to negatively impact Robinhood from here until that official business disbands.
I'm not talking about 4chan.
I know. I don't want to either. 4chan is scary.
Nope.
Ugh. All right. So that's kind of where we are right now in terms of the Wall Street versus Reddit. Also, the narrative is wrong.
Enlighten us.
CSBN or whatever the hell they call themselves, they're basically running gun for the hedge fund managers, slandering us.
Oh, you mean CNBC?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
NN, CNN, all those people. Bloomberg people, the slandering us.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We don't care. Because for the past 10 to 12 years, you've called people you didn't like a bunch of names, and at first they backed off. But now you've done it for so long where they don't care no more.
True.
And now it's time to collect.
Well.
You got a bunch of young adults and teenagers, spend an entire year inside, not socializing with anybody. They've been snorting all the Adderall, drinking all the Red Bull. We're sick and tired of being pushed around.
Woo!
We are not rebels without a cause.
Take that, Dan Backslide.
Exactly. All right, so that's basically where we are in terms of the Red versus Wall Street war.
We're just in the first week, right?
We're just in the first week, technically the first week of the actual war. Now, there was like a couple of weeks of preparation that I completely missed, but hot damn, Sam. All right. I don't want to make this a big staple, at least until it ends. But
yeah, we'll talk about it again.
Yeah, we'll talk about this again. This is not a one and done thing. I will keep us posted
This is your introduction.
Yeah, this is the introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, there will be a test later. Yeah, we have to keep talking about this because I'm now directly involved. Hey, look.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, if I can make even a smidgen of money off of this, I'm sold. I'm with WallStreetBets until they eventually get shut down.
It's possible.
Yeah. Oh no, it's possible.
But I'm gonna tell you something. The financial markets is like the wild, wild west.
Oh, I know it is.
So basically, what you're involved in, Wall Street may be saying, "Hey,
yeah,
we got to put a stop to this, fellas." Yet, you're involved in something that ultimately makes money.
Yes.
So along with publicly stating they want this to stop and please Congress and senators, please help us, they are trying to harness it as we speak. We talked about, hey, how can we make a profit off of it?
Exactly.
That's happening right now.
Oh, I know
right
it is.
Right now, okay?
I know it is.
That's right.
Yeah, I might lose money, but I've learned a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Anyway, so, yeah, I didn't want to spend an entire hour, so we might have time for one or two more topics. Almost an hour. Yeah, whatever.
I guess technically you're all right.
Yeah, I'm all right. I didn't want to talk about this the whole time, because this is basically it's more like a news bulletin.
I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting. This was more like an extended news bulletin.
As we continue to talk about it.
Yeah, as we continue to talk about it. You know, you got one person who's a neutral party, one person that's directly involved, and we don't have a third party person who's like with the hedge fund, so we can't exactly give you an objective view of what's happening.
No.
But we can at least give you a very concrete breakdown of what's happening, with some examples to boot.
A perspective.
A perspective.
An educational perspective.
Yes. All right, so, yeah, I was too distracted to, like, think of anything else that happened this week, because there really wasn't anything else.
I had to get it out.
And I had to get it out. Yeah, luckily this wasn't like Hannibal, where I waited, like, an entire week. This was about 3 to 4 days in the making.
Thank God.
Oh, actually, speaking of Hannibal, I know!
No, you don't.
My boss yesterday showed me a news article that said that they're hemming and hawing about not only bringing it back, but Netflix might have a season 4. And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this. On the one hand, you know, solves a cliffhanger. Maybe.
Gives you another one.
Gives me something else to bitch about.
That's right.
Something else to torture you with. And on the other hand, I'm like, dude, just end it. It's so insane, and it's so batshit insane. How do you top this? How do you carry this into the Silence of the Lambs? Because that's the next step.
Make them all swear to the series finale to write themselves into a corner that cannot be written out of.
Yeah.
Like have them all drop into a blender.
you know, I'm willing to bet Lecter would do that.
Hannibal Lecter in his special smoothies.
Oh, that's fucked up. No, I'm just wondering, I'm just looking at this going, okay, we have a new show called Clarice that's launched. It basically takes place directly after Silence.
What the heck is up with that?
That show looks like it's a bunch of boring dog shit.
I don't know, but whoever the lead role, This individual looks, every time I see the commercial, and I've seen it
Yeah.
4 or 5 times.
Yeah. It just looks boring.
They look really pissed off. And they're just standing there staring.
They're just angry. Well, here's the thing.
Angry. I don't know. Are you constipated? What's up?
I think...
My God.
I think part of it is, here's the thing. The show Clarice, it's supposed to take place directly.
Right.
And I mean immediately after Silence of the Lambs.
Well, yeah. So, I mean,
So she's probably angry because she had to survive some potentially neo-Nazi killer trying to shoot her in a dark basement.
I don't know. My pandering meter, pandering alarm has gone off.
No, I get it.
I'm like, what are you people getting ready to do?
Yeah, that's my question, because it looks boring. You know, it's like some chick police chief says to
she's
Clarice.
chromatic.
Yeah.
The background is chromatic. She's staring at the camera.
Yeah, she just looks angry all the time.
And it doesn't matter. It is whether she's standing still, whether they show the shot and she's moving, coming around
she just
the
looks
corner.
angry.
She just looks angry and ticked off. I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, dude, what are you doing? And here's the thing that got me is, like, you know, there was like a line in the trailer that my boss showed me a while back. He's a good guy.
Right.
He it was something like some sort of detective or police chief was trying to talk to Clarice, telling her, like, you know, you're a lady that hunts monsters, so you need to do that. And I'm like, the hell is this? She's like some brand new in-training FBI agent that just got on the track of a serial killer, but now all of a sudden she's a monster slayer. What the fuck are you talking about?
Does it say that on her tramp stamp?
Something like that. Monsters hunter. She needs to go back to the academy and spend another 3 years there.
You know when you bust out a cheesy ass line like that
in the trailer?
In the trailer,
you know it's gonna be some bullshit. And what's worse is me and my boss, we looked up the IMDb of the show, because he and I just looked at each other and went, who's Lecter? Who's gonna be Lecter? You know what?
Well, yeah.
He's not in it.
What do you mean he's not in it?
He is not in that show.
Bet you money. That show starts to tank.
They're gonna bring somebody in.
They're gonna bring somebody in.
Yeah. Dude, look, we looked up the IMDb, we got the name of the lead character and the rest of the characters. They had someone as Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
Obviously not the original guy, because...
Well, I mean...
Yeah, if I was that guy, I would never play that character again. Like, never. No.
He would just mess it up.
He would just mess it up. Right. And he would get typecasted like a mother.
Well, I mean, because
that was so advanced.
That guy has done he has been a villain. He's been a villain in a lot of stuff.
And he was great.
And he's
like, okay, no disrespect.
There's no way you can't. Yeah, no, he would just detract from that role. Yeah. No, they would definitely have to get somebody else.
Yeah, they got some bald motherfucker, I think.
I mean, they have him come in being a cameo as a different character.
That's something. Yeah, that's something different.
Yeah, that's a fan thing. But you got to get some fans first.
Yeah, you got to get the fans first. Stop pandering to us.
I tell you what.
Stop trying to bait and switch. Yeah. But no, we looked on the IMDb. There is no credit for Hannibal Lecter in the first season.
How many episodes?
I don't know. I think we saw like 8 or 12, somewhere in there. Now, it might have changed since we last looked, because it was about 2 weeks ago, but he and I just looked at it and went, this is boring.
Right.
And he and I, and we were also got to
talk. And before somebody turns this into some kind of gender-related thing.
It's going to be turned
I know
into
it is, but here's the thing. I don't want to see some boring-ass chromographic dude staring into the camera all pissed off either, because it reminds me. I mean...
stop looking constipated. Go get some Miralax, you cranky motherfucker.
Does it have to be dark all the time? Can somebody actually act like they're having a good time, enjoying what they're doing?
Suffering for the sake of suffering is not fun,
really?
And it's boring.
Well,
seriously,
I want to enjoy the character.
Yeah.
I don't give a dang what.
Yeah, because here's the thing.
What toolbox they're carrying.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Even the show Hannibal, now, it was whacked out insane, but it was dark.
Right.
But you could laugh at it.
Every now and then.
Every now and again, like something like it was kind of like a dark comedy
You better watch
on
out.
cocaine.
There better be something funny, and I'm gonna tell you something because people want to laugh right now.
Yeah, you need to make people laugh right now. This is not the time for misery. This is the
No.
time to try to get people's spirits up. You don't have to succeed.
No, you don't.
But you have to do something.
During the Great Depression, the one industry that never lost not only didn't lose a notch, but exploded, and that was the entertainment industry.
Because people wanted an escape. And now is the time for it.
Now is the time for it.
Yeah.
I got enough reality.
Mm-hmm. I've had enough of reality, and I'm embroiled in a financial war. So, yeah, we just looked at each other and went, what the hell? What do you mean there's not going to be a Hannibal Lecter? You couldn't get Mads back for like a 5-minute cameo?
Well, I mean, I guess it's possible.
It wouldn't make any sense, but at least...
Was that,
you know...
What was it, that WB show, Gotham? That had everybody but Batman?
No. They had Batman,
Did they?
But it was like Bruce Wayne as a child.
Oh, okay.
This was basically the show Gotham. It took place after the Wayne's murder.
Oh, okay.
So it was basically pre-Batman, but it focused more on Commissioner Gordon as a young man or younger man, depending on the interpretation.
I mean, there has to be a unique perspective to
Which, here's the thing, I don't watch the show. I think the show is pretty aight.
Yeah.
But I at least appreciate for the fact that it took the perspective of a prequel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But this show, Clarice, I mean, my boss and I, we were just looking at each other and going like, how do you have a story in the universe of Hannibal Lecter and you don't include Hannibal Lecter? Because here's the thing. You're not going to get Anthony Hopkins in it.
Disciple or something like. Well, I mean, Buffalo.
The Red Dragon and Buffalo Bill are kind of sort of babies.
Buffalo Bill definitely was.
It's been a hot minute since I've seen Silence of the Lambs, but I'm kind of under the impression that most of these serial killers in that universe were directly connected to Hannibal Lecter.
Right. Because
for some reason he thought it was entertaining just to turn people into serial killers, or not help them, but just encourage what was already there. Like stoking a fire.
Playing with people.
Yeah, playing with people.
Yeah, enjoy playing with people.
Yeah. He basically pushed people's buttons just to see what would happen.
Right.
But yeah, Clarice just looks boring. The show Clarice looks boring. Now, is it going to be boring? I don't know.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not. Honestly, I hope.
I love the original character. I thought Jodie Foster did a
fantastic job. She
job.
held her own against Anthony Hopkins. How do you do that?
She's that good.
Yeah.
I first saw her in an old Disney movie named Candlestick.
I've not. It must be really old because I've never heard of it.
It's really old.
Any good?
I was in elementary. Early middle school time saw it called, and it was actually no, it might have been just middle school, like 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah,
5th grade.
Yeah,
and it was her. She was a child actress, so I mean she was good then, and she's good now.
I think she retired.
Probably.
Like she got married to some lady and then retired.
Yeah, something. I mean, she's definitely.
Which, hey, look, if she's solid,
she's done enough work.
Yeah,
she doesn't have to work.
Good for her.
Like, get her out of mothballs every now and then.
Yeah, good for her is what I say.
Yeah, good for her.
You know, I don't wish anybody harm. You know, you did some good work. You basically work till you don't work anymore. And you're set for life, more power to you.
You uttered one of my personal favorite movie dialogue phrases. Taining in the wind.
Jesus.
Just taining in the wind.
Yeah.
She played Nell. But anyway.
Honestly, the primary role that I've seen Jodie Foster do was that I didn't care for, but that's only because the chemistry was way off. Was The King and I with Chung Yao Fat.
Yeah.
What you're saying? That movie, it looked good.
Yeah, it did.
And obviously the story's good
No,
because
she
it's just the
didn't,
same story. She just,
They didn't mesh.
yeah, her and Chung Yao Fat did not.
think
It was
he
not
played-
copacetic.
No.
They did
No,
not
I
mesh
don't think so.
well. Because here's the thing: the part of it was, and I've seen the original,
Based on the original.
based
no.
on the original with oh god, what
Yul
the hell?
Brynner.
Yul Brynner, and what the hell is her name? I'm looking this up. I don't want to be wrong about this.
No, it wasn't Patty Duke.
No, hang on. I'm looking this up. IMDb.
Yul Brynner had a completely different
Oh Jesus.
presence
1950.
than
Yeah, hang on. I'm getting it.
Chung Yao Fat.
No. The original, the musical.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is the guy who played
You mean Chung Yao Fat versus Yul Brynner?
versus Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner had a completely different
Deborah
tone.
Kerr.
Deborah Kerr.
Yeah, her. That was
I can see her
Anna.
face.
That was the Anna. She's Scottish.
That'll happen.
Yeah. But no. Yeah, mad respect. Yeah, her. She's blonde in this picture,
okay.
but that's her.
All right.
Yeah, no, Yul Brynner, he carried himself in a completely different way to Chung Yao Fat. But here's the thing: the two original casts of Yul Brynner and Deborah Kerr,
Yeah.
you couldn't top that.
No.
Those are their characters. Like not Chung Yao.
Chung Yao Fat's character seemed to have a sense of humor about the whole
Yeah,
thing.
he did.
And Jodie Foster's character did not.
But in the original, it was kind of the opposite.
It was kind of the opposite.
Where he was this surly, demanding king. He wasn't necessarily a barbarian as
No.
he wasn't
He
necessarily
wasn't boorish.
he wasn't boorish.
No.
There was just a lot of complexities about the English culture that, being not English, he had
Right.
to kind of adapt in order to preserve his country.
Right.
Which in the story he eventually does by inviting diplomats and people of importance, trying to basically coax the English into not besieging Siam,
Yeah.
thinking that they're basically a bunch of savages.
But no.
Because the British Empire kind of did that a lot back in the day.
No, Jodie Foster didn't mesh well with Chung Yao Fat.
There was actually a more recent iteration of The King and I, where the King of Siam, I forget the actual name of the character. Basically, the King of Siam was played by, the head samurai in The Last Samurai. Ken...
Watanabe?
Yes, him. He played the King of Siam
Oh, okay.
in a more recent iteration.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He, in my opinion, did a little bit better than Chung Yao Fat, but you can't top Yul Brynner.
No, you can't.
No one
No,
can
you
top
can't
Yul
top
Brynner.
Yul Brynner,
He
no.
was different.
He was
Even
different.
as Ramesses, you couldn't make a better Ramesses.
No, if you're gonna someone who exudes a kingly, hey, I don't make these stereotypes.
No.
But that type of attitude and approach, Yul Brynner definitely was was the lock. He was it.
Yeah, in terms of maintaining an air of royalty and eloquence
Right.
and grace, he's it.
He's it.
He was it. There is, in my opinion, in terms of Western media, mind you,
Right.
Not anywhere else in the world, but in terms of North American English they're a little better, but not quite.
Right.
But in terms of Western media, now there might be someone in like Korea, Japan, maybe India in the Bollywood section who does what Yul Brynner has done.
Right.
But until that person hits it big, we don't know who that person is.
No, I don't know who they are.
There is no actor who exudes that royalty energy like Yul Brynner did.
There was a weirdness to it. I mean,
Yeah,
it was like,
because it was like, is that guy an actor or is he legit?
he definitely had it. Whatever he was doing worked is all I can tell you.
Yeah, huh?
Maybe he knew somebody, or when he was growing up, or something.
I think part of it was
Was he Egyptian?
He isn't Egyptian. Actually, his origin is a little bit of a mixed mystery, because this was back in the day
I've
before
heard
the
that.
internet, where he kept changing his backstory just a little bit, to the point where no one really knew where he was from.
Right.
He is actually Russian, but he's from, he wasn't from the
Eastern Russia?
The Eastern Russia, where the
Mongols.
the
Yeah, I can
Mongols
see
kind
it
of
now.
were. Yeah.
That's where that skin comes from.
Yes, because as soon as I heard Russian, as soon as I heard that he was Russian, I'm like, sir, you are dark skinned. How are you Russian?
Yep.
He's from that Mongol region, or the former Mongol region, or
absolutely.
Yeah, he's from that part of the world. And then there was like some stories about him hanging around a band of Romani gypsies for like a couple of years. Romanian, yeah.
There is definitely a gypsy quality to him.
Yeah, there is. And apparently that's how he got the part initially, like the stage adaptation of The King and I, was he sung a gypsy song.
Oh, cool.
During his audition. Theoretically.
Right.
Allegedly. So, and he apparently played the King of Siam in The King and I, like, up until he died.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he didn't stop. Like, that movie, that wasn't the beginning nor the end. He was so committed to doing that one specific character. There was a story.
That's cool.
I saw this interview with one of his kids where they were taking like a ski trip,
right?
Like a water skiing trip. And something happened. Like something hit Yul Brynner in the head and caused him to bleed.
Right.
Now, if he had gone to the hospital, they would have like probably gave him like morphine, put stitches in his head.
Sure. He
wouldn't have been able to perform later that night. So, according to this interview, what he did was he went to a bait and tackle box, got some line and a fish hook, and gave himself a stitch to close that wound so he could continue doing that play.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is some commitment.
That's hardcore right
That's hardcore. Yeah, he was no joke.
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Mad
respect. But yeah,
he spooked me.
Yeah, he's kind of spooky. But then again, you saw him as Ramesses, so.
Well, I saw him as Ramesses.
And Westworld, the old Westworld.
The old Westworld.
That's actually one secret of his. He doesn't blink. Or if he blinks, it's very rare. That is part of what gives him power. Really? Is not blinking. Or blinking very few. Because here's the thing. Blinking, it's one of those little fundamental things which humans do.
Yes.
You know, like talking or breathing.
Right.
And it kind of goes a little bit into the uncanny valley when you encounter a person that doesn't do characteristically human things.
That is very interesting.
Like, if you, like, hypothetically, I don't know where I saw this. There was like a vampire story where, a vampire doesn't breathe, obviously. They don't have the need to.
Right.
But I remember seeing, it might have been True Blood, where someone knew something was up with this one particular person because they kind of picked up on the sense that they were not breathing, but they moved and spoke.
Right.
And it kind of set the scene, like, it's very uneasy. It's very dreadful. Because this is not something that humans do, which is not breathing. So they're just kind of uncomfortable by this person because they can't quite figure out what the problem is. If you ever see a story where someone doesn't speak, you know, obviously the first thing you're thinking of is what's wrong with that person when they don't talk.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about that behavioral stuff.
Yeah, the behavioral stuff.
If you do something odd, if you do something different from the herd,
Yeah,
that's what draws attention.
Yeah, that's what draws attention when you don't do as the herd does.
That's right.
And part of what I don't know if he ever said this or anyone said this. This is something I think I figured out. He didn't blink that much.
Right.
It was very few times he blinked.
Right.
He would just stare. He would kind of tilt his chin down and he would stare.
Yeah.
And he didn't blink. Now,
and
it
kind of like William Shatner did with his cadence.
Kinda, except the cadence was more cheesy.
Yeah, it is more cheesy, but the thing that draws attention to it is the fact that it is abnormal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Yul Brynner part of how he commanded such a screen presence was he didn't blink.
Yeah. No, that's the thing that you see. You see his eyes wide open looking.
Yeah, you see his eyes wide open.
When you think of him in your mind's eye, that's what you see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Absolutely.
What?
Ooh. You had to get that Wall Street bet stuff out of your system.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah, because you came in the other night roughing me up.
Yeah. Because I can't believe what I'm involved in. I just did it by accident, but now I'm in it to win it.
Well, you definitely have. You probably have, just based on. I mean, you've got more knowledge than at least 50% of the people who are already involved, just based on what you read in the last 2 months.
Exactly.
I mean, you may not obviously don't understand it completely. It's always a learning process, but you're familiar with terms and thinking about
exactly.
it. I mean, it's just like. But I believe it's more behavioral.
How so?
I think it's I heard this earlier, something called behavioral economics. Yes, there is supply and demand, but what powers supply and demand? Behavior.
And the people.
Look at everybody in this country when the pandemic hit, going out and buying toilet paper.
Yeah, that's true.
That is behavioral economics in a nutshell right there. That's it. And trading is, in my opinion, what makes people buy and sell is behavioral.
Okay.
And this future thing that I'm interested in is based on behavior.
Yeah. I keep that on the DL.
Yeah.
At least until we figure out it's worth it.
Yep. I agree.
All right. I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
All right. This was your news update. All right. Well, that's it, folks. I was your host, Bel-E.
And I was your co-host, Mr. Scratch.
And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Bye.